Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Broly Bro, for you guys that don't know. In case you've been living under a rock for the past couple weeks, Nostalrius has announced they are coming back. And I'm not going to talk about that too much since there are plenty of videos on that already. There have been a lot of forum discussions. In fact, today they did a Q&A on Reddit, so I will leave a couple links for you guys who haven't seen that on all the information of Nostalrius coming back and merging with Elysium. But what I am here to talk about is a video that has also been made a few times, but I'm coming with a slightly different perspective. I've had a few people ask me to make a video talking about this. It's why vanilla was so good, what I liked about it so much. As somebody who has played retail forever, I never once quit playing retail. I've been playing WoW since I was 11 or 12, grew up with it. I stream. What I mainly do and what people usually in my stream are there to watch is high level arena, and usually from Ellie Shaman. And so I'm going to go ahead and talk from this perspective on why I think vanilla is so good. So I've had a lot of viewers asking me, because I was streaming Elysium. I got bored of Legion, much as everybody else has pretty much too after the first couple weeks. It was fun for a while, but I'm ready to jump back into vanilla. I had 260s and a 50 on Nostalrius. I put in a lot of time. And so about a week before the announcement of Nostalrius returning, I started playing Elysium again. I got to about level 40 on my mage. And a bunch of people in there asking, like, why are you going back? Why are you playing this? Do you not like Legion? What is it about vanilla that's so good? Because a lot of my viewers had never played it. So I broke it into three major components of why I think vanilla is so good. Number one is the community. And so the main reason community was so much stronger was the content was just straight up harder. I mean, you had things like group quest. You had to actually like form groups. You had to actually make friends. You had to go out in the world and do these things. You could not do a lot of it alone, especially depending on what class you were. You just didn't have the sustain as a rogue or warrior to do a bunch of these group quests alone. Maybe if you were a mage or something, you could do it alone, but most classes, most quests, a lot of content you had to group up for. You had to make friends. Number two, there was no looking for group. There was no cross realms, and there was no summoning stones. So you had one server, one group of people, and you actually did have to go make them. Now, looking for group was pretty much the worst thing in WoW's history. It really ruined the game. It really ruined exploration. You would queue up, and then you would get a random group of people, and these people were basically robots. If one of them left or something, didn't matter. You just hit the button, you queue back up, and boom, you got another player, right? And you keep on going to the dungeon. Before then, no summoning stones also, so you had to go type in general, or you're looking for group, guild, whatever. You had to find a team, and usually what that led to is friendships, people who you want to group with again in the future. They're on the same talents, or on the same levels usually, because you're in the same dungeon. It just encouraged a much stronger community back then. And like I said, a sense of progressing together and making friends. The next one was working towards something. So here you can see, just you're level 1, you're starting out in the character selection screen, and then here you see, Downy MC. So in vanilla, it really felt like you were working towards something. You had a much bigger sense of progression and rewards. Every single level, other level, I guess, you felt rewarded. You're getting new spells in today's WoW, and it has been for quite a while. You don't have to go train. You don't have to pay to train. You level and boom, you automatically have your new spells. You had new talent, spells, zones, and dungeon to work towards as you level. I know for me back then, even in Nostalrius, 10 years later, I was really excited when I got to level 20 to go to the new zone like 1,000 Needles or something, which was personally my favorite zone ever. When you hit level 30, you're really looking forward to going into doing Scarlet Monastery. When you hit level 40, you're looking forward to Ice Barrier if you're playing a mage. I remember my hunter, I was looking forward to Volley. It was like my first AoE on my hunter back in the original vanilla. So there's just more milestones. You felt more rewarded for everything, even if it was just one level, one new zone, one new dungeon. You felt like you were accomplishing something each day. Like I said, level 40 was the biggest one. No mount until level 40, guys. If you guys haven't played vanilla in a long time, you didn't play Nostalrius, or if you never played it, you never leveled up back then, no mount until level 40. There was also fewer flight paths, fewer graveyards. It was a lot more punishing. There was a lot more running around, but that's part of why you felt so much more rewarded for what you were doing and what you were moving towards. The next one is, it felt impactful when you got a new piece of gear. That's part of the reason dungeons were better back then. You didn't just get epics for free like you have for the past 5, 6 or so years. You didn't even get free blues. I mean, until level 30 or 40, you might not have rings or trinkets or neck. So every time you got a new piece of gear, it felt important. The third one was just a little bit more of a general topic, but just the overall content was just much better. Everything was really strong. All the zones were top notch. Every single leveling zone was really fun. Had a good atmosphere. All the quests were well balanced, well tuned. So everything felt good. Like there was no zones that I really didn't like. There were some that were obviously not as good as the others, but all the zones did feel really good, and I was looking forward to seeing each zone. In today's WoW, I mean, I really don't like most of the zones. I haven't liked most zones for a while. Mists of Pandaria zones were not that great. Warlords zones were just really bad versions of BC zones. Legion isn't terrible, but it's definitely not in the par of vanilla through Wrath. All the dungeons were entertaining, challenging, and rewarding. I mean, that one's just pretty straightforward. All the dungeons were really, really fun. Even simple dungeons like your starter dungeons like Van Cleef. I remember back in the day on the original WoW, you would wipe a lot. When's the last time somebody died on retail WoW in a dungeon? Even a heroic dungeon. But back then, even the first dungeon, the easiest dungeon really, you would die. There's things like patrols that you didn't know about unless you've done the dungeon. So you'd be going up, just clearing, and then all of a sudden you have 4 elites behind you. Groups wiped if you're not prepared for something like that. The next one is, for me, this is a personal one, best endgame other than Burning Crusade. Burning Crusade for me was by far the best expansion, but Vanilla was very, very close. BC just beats it mainly because of Arena. But the endgame in Vanilla is incredible. You have a lot to do. The progression of the raids is, it's at a pretty good pace. You never really run out of much to do. There's always stuff to farm. Regular dungeons, they don't really go away. There's always a reason to do the dungeons in Vanilla. In today's WoW, when's the last time you did a normal dungeon? In Legion, it's only been out for like a month or so, or a month or two, whatever it is. And I already don't have reasons to do mythic dungeons, let alone certain mythic pluses, unless you're just farming 3 chests and stuff. It's just crazy to me that you have 3 tiers of dungeons, and then you have 1 through 15 keystones, and it still doesn't feel that impactful. Whereas in Vanilla, the level 60, the endgame 5-man dungeons, those always felt impactful. There was always something to obtain through it. There's always some reason to do the dungeon. And the PvP was just really fucking fun, man. It was definitely not the most well-balanced World of Warcraft PvP's ever been, but it was really fun. It was kind of a shit show. There's a lot of unbalanced stuff like Wind Fury going around, getting one shot, Palm Pyro and stuff, but it was really fun. You could do a lot. One thing about it was you had way more spells. Like if you look at your action bar, if you've never played Vanilla at level 6, you have like triple the amount of spells you'll have today. So there was a lot of outplay potential if you lived long enough. I guess most of the fights were short-lived, especially if you're up against an enhance or a red or something like that can just one-shot you with a couple of procs. But the PvP was really fun, and when it came to team fights, like in actual BGs, not just 1v1 or world PvP, you actually had to work together because there was no arenas. Arena doesn't take as much coordination as a BG, even though I do think arenas take a lot of skill, and they have in every expansion, even the bad ones where PvP has been lackluster, like Warlords and Legion. BGs were the only source of endgame PvP. There was no arenas, there was no rated battlegrounds. So what you would do is, with the old rank system, was you'd have to form up a good team. You would have to be organized in these BGs, especially Warsong. You couldn't just do whatever. It was actually harder than rated battlegrounds are. Like I can keep rated battlegrounds at like 2500 MMR today, which is top tier up there on the ladder. And it's still a lot easier than it was back then. That's just the way it was, and that's why it feels good. It goes back to the sense of community, just working together, just needing people, making more friends. You have a group of friends in the BG, you do good. You guys are farming the Horde, farming the Alliance, whatever it is, and you're getting your rank for the week, and you're progressing. You're gonna make a group of friends. You guys might start a PvP guild. It was just everything just felt really good. And one of the major concerns, my viewers who have been asking me because they never played Vanilla, one of the biggest concerns when it comes to Private Realms is, why do you want to go backwards? Don't you want to progress? Like, don't you think Legion's pretty good? Don't you want to move forward and not live in the past? Well, it's kind of a valid point, I guess. This game was, 10, 12 years old, but I don't see the relevance. If you have fun doing something, do it, I still like to play Halo 3 here and there. Halo 3 has been dead for a long time. I still like to go over to my Xbox 360 and play. It's really fun for me still. If more people played Halo 3, I would play it a lot more if the servers were more active. So I don't think there's anything wrong with, quote unquote going back, especially since a lot of players like myself, even though I have, 260s on Nost, there's still a lot of endgame and vanilla I didn't see. I was like 11, 12 years old. I didn't get to do a lot of the endgame raids. Nostalrius got shut down before I got to do a lot of it. I still haven't seen AQ, Nax. So I'm still looking forward to a lot of that stuff. I know a lot of people also either never played, never got to 60 back then. So I think there's plenty of validation for going back. And anyway, yeah, guys, that was my first YouTube video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Sorry if the quality was bad or my voice is a little shaky. I'm still a little sick, but yeah, it was fun to talk about. I've had a few people ask me to make this short video, and I want to get my YouTube channel going. So expect some more. If you liked it, you can go ahead and hit the follow or subscribe button. I'll put a link to my Twitch as well. Usually I stream, like I said, I usually stream arenas, retail, but as soon as Nostalrius comes back, I'll definitely be mainly playing that for a very long time. I'll probably still do some threes here and there, but Nostalrius is what I'm looking forward to. I plan on making a lot of Nostalrius videos on my YouTube channel once it's back, PvP focused, but I do plan on raiding and everything. So anyway, thanks guys. Hope you enjoyed. Have a good one.